Welcome, everyone, to this evening's hybrid public comment hearing of the Energy Facilities Siting Board. Before I introduce myself and my colleagues, I have some instructions related to Zoom, primarily. So, audio is available. So I'm speaking to the people who are attending by Zoom. Audio is available through your computer's speakers or by telephone. To switch to phone audio, click on the upward arrow next to audio options, select switch to phone audio, and follow the instructions provided. Use the chat box for Zoom technical difficulties. You can also email meetings@erg.com with any technical questions related to the meeting logistics. Closed captioning will be auto-generated. This hybrid public comment hearing is being live streamed, and a video of the hearing will be available on the Energy Facilities Siting Board's YouTube channel after the hearing. My name is Daniel Kelleher. I'm a presiding officer with the Siting Division of the Energy Facilities Siting Board. The Siting Division assists the board. We're basically board staff. And I will be conducting this evening's hearing. The Siting Board is the state agency charged with reviewing proposals for large energy projects in Massachusetts, including the project before us this evening. To my right is Wayne Wong, Assistant Director of the Siting Division. Beyond him are Smitha Divakar and Shannon Dennehy. They are both analysts with the Siting Division. This evening's public comment hearing relates to a petition from National Grid to the Siting Board with docket number EFSB 25-01 /D.P.U 25/-16. National Grid's petition proposes upgrades to an existing electrical transmission system that runs from Millbury to Buckland on an existing right-of-way and through many towns in between. I refer to National Grid as the company and all the work that National Grid proposes as part of its petition as the project. This evening's hearing marks the beginning of a formal state-level decision-making process in which the Siting Board will consider whether to approve the project. In reviewing the project, the Siting Board will determine, pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 164, Sections 69J and 72, whether the project will serve the public convenience and be consistent with the public interest, and also whether the project will satisfy considerations of low cost, low environmental impact, and system reliability. The primary purpose of this evening's hearing is for the public to comment upon the project to help guide the Siting Board's review of the project over the next several months. I will briefly describe National Grid's project proposal. National Grid proposes to replace two existing 69 kilovolt overhead transmission lines and their supporting structures that run for approximately 67 miles from Millbury, Massachusetts to Shelburne, Massachusetts. National Grid proposes to replace the two lines with 215 kilovolt transmission lines. These lines run through Millbury, Auburn, Leicester, Spencer, East Brookfield, North Brookfield, West Brookfield, Ware, Belchertown, Pelham, Shutesbury, Leverett, Sunderland, Deerfield, Conway, and Shelburne, Massachusetts. National Grid also proposes to replace 3 tap lines, which are lines that branch off from the main transmission lines.
Excuse me.
In doing so, would replace both the tap lines themselves and their supporting structures. These three tap lines run through, in one case, Belchertown, in another case, Shutesbury, and in the third case, Shelburne and Buckland. National Grid proposes to remove the existing structures. In a few minutes, representatives from the company will share with you details about the project. I will then invite the public, both those in person and those on Zoom or telephone, to comment or ask questions. As appropriate, I may ask the company representatives to respond to questions. For those of you participating by Zoom or telephone, you will have an equal opportunity to see and hear everything said during this hearing and to offer comments and ask questions. In addition to orally commenting upon the project during this hearing, people will have the opportunity to participate in this proceeding by filing written comments. The due date for that is January 28th, Wednesday, 2 weeks from today. Actually, it's 2 weeks from tomorrow. To do so, please email your comments to me and others as specified in the legal notice, and there is a copy of the legal notice in the back of the room. My email address is daniel.w.kelleher@mass.gov. So Daniel, DANIEL .w KELEHER @mass.gov. In addition to participating by filing written comments, you may ask to participate in this proceeding as an intervener or limited participant. An intervener has rights to ask discovery questions of the company, to present witnesses, to ask questions of witnesses testifying at the hearings, to file briefs and motions, and to appeal the decision of the siting board. In the alternative, you may participate as a limited participant, which would allow you to receive filings made in this proceeding and to file briefs with the siting board. A limited participant does not have the right to appeal the decision. The deadline for requesting to participate in this proceeding, either as an intervener or as a limited participant, is the same deadline as for the written comments, January 28th. If you'd like any information on participating, you can email me. We will now move to the company's presentation. After the company's presentation, I will open the floor to comments and questions from members of the public. Would legal counsel for the company please introduce yourself and state who you represent?
Good evening, members of the public and Presiding Officer Kelleher and members of the siting board staff. Thank you. My name is Catherine Cuthan. I'm from the law firm of Keegan Worland, and I represent New England Power Company doing business as National Grid in this proceeding. Also appearing on behalf of National Grid is my co-counsel, Cheryl Blaine from the same law firm, and David Waterfall, senior counsel at National Grid. We appreciate the opportunity to listen to your comments today and provide more information about the project. I'd like to introduce the project manager, Rahul Shah.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. My name is Rahul Shah. I'm a project manager for this project with National Grid. I've been working with National Grid. Thank you so much for this opportunity for us to present, and we look forward to hearing comments from the members of the public and community. With that, I would like to introduce Ken Daw as the transmission line engineer for this project.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kenneth Daw. I'm a transmission line engineer with Fairwater Engineering, doing work on National Grid's behalf. So I'd like to take the time to walk you through what it is we're proposing to do on the project and answer any questions you have that I can answer. If we could move on to the next slide.
And if I can just mention before we do that, that I did receive a confirmation, an affidavit from your law firm earlier today regarding confirming service and publication of the notice. Go ahead.
Thank you. So here's just a brief agenda of what we're going to talk about. I'm going to run you through an overview of the project, where the project is, what the existing condition looks like in comparison to what everything will look like following the project, as well as schedule and how we are communicating with our abutters and the community at large, as well as how you can contact members of the project team at the end if you have any further questions after this evening. Next slide, please. So the E5 and F6 are two 69 kilovolt transmission lines that connect Millbury substation in Millbury, Massachusetts, with the Deerfield number 4 substation in Shelburne, Massachusetts. It's about 67 miles along the main line from there. There are, as Mr. Kelleher mentioned, there are 7 tap lines that branch off of that to feed various substations, 3 of which we're also proposing to rebuild as part of the project. Along the 67 miles between those two ends, there are 711 existing transmission structures that are a mix of wood poles with davit arms, tubular steel structures with davit arms, and lattice steel structures. These run through all the towns previously mentioned. The lines were originally built in the early 1900s, some of the oldest lines on the New England transmission system. We've had projects over the lifespan of it. The most recent major project was in 2001, at which time we replaced a lot of the conductors, some of the shield wire, and I think about 10% or so of the structures that support the lines. Next slide, please. So here's a map of the area. Millbury is down here in the bottom right corner, running out past the Quabbin Reservoir and out to Deerfield 4 substation at the end. This is where the Deerfield 3 tap is located. Here is, this should be the Shutesbury tap, I believe. And this is just sort of an overview of where the extent of the project is through central and western Massachusetts. Next slide, please. So the reasons we're doing this project are to address the conditions of the line. And they were originally built in the early 1900s. They're over 100 years old, and they're at the end of the life of what they can provide service for us, and they need to be replaced to address those conditions. By replacing all of them, we're going to reconfigure how the lines are structured to meet current standards that will improve the performance of the line, resulting in fewer outages and better reliability. As the lines were originally built over 100 years ago, the design requirements, standards, and codes have changed in that time. So we'll be building to meet all of the current requirements, which will lead to more resilient structures that are better able to withstand weather events, lightning. Just for some background, the lines in the last 6 years from 2019 to 2024 experienced outages on the line 70 times. So these are some of the lines on the system that have the most outages of the New England transmission system. As part of the project, one of the wires called a shield wire at the top of the structure, which serves a purpose of protecting the line from lightning, will also be replaced with a hybrid cable that continues to serve that purpose, but will also contain optical fibers to allow communication along the line that we will use for security camera type things, protecting the communication between substations for protective relaying, and other functions that will help serve the functionality of the transmission system. Next slide, please. So what we're going to do is essentially a complete replacement of the transmission line and its supporting structures. We're going to replace all 711 of those structures. The new structures will all be steel monopoles, so the lattice towers will no longer be on the right of way. The line will be designed to our 115 kilovolt design standards, but will continue to operate at 69 kV. We don't have any identified need or expectation to operate the line at 115 kV, but we will be designing the line for a potential future operation while we're executing this project to replace all of these components at this time. All of the conductors will be replaced with a new conductor of a type called aluminum steel supported. Aluminum conductor steel supported. It's a different conductor type that will allow the line to carry more energy. And at the top of the structures, there will be two optical ground wires, which are those hybrid lightning protection and communication wires. Along the way, we're going to be making a number of improvements to access the right-of-way to enable us to complete the construction, as well as our ability to respond to damage, emergencies, as well as ongoing maintenance along the line. All the work is within our existing right-of-way, and the reasons that we're doing this project, the benefits we expect to see are to replace these assets at the end of their life. We expect to see significant improvements in outage performance, the ability to carry more power, and those access improvements, and to support future growth in load or renewable energy resources that may be in central and western Massachusetts. Next slide, please. Just as an overview, on the left here, this is a picture of one of the existing lattice towers. It's a bit washed out, but this is an illustration of a double circuit tubular steel pole. So you have a steel pole in the middle, and then three davit arms on either side carrying the three power conductors, and then another davit arm at the top that'll carry that OPGW. This illustration might be a little clearer. This is just another example of a structure of that configuration. And as we go through and construct this, the new structures will be set essentially within the same area of the alignment of the existing structures. We're going to shift things about 5 feet to the left compared to the existing structures. This will now enable us to set the structure safely and take an outage on one of the lines on one side of the structure while keeping the other side energized, while our workers can stay a safe distance away from that line that stays energized. And next slide, please. So this is kind of a graphical illustration of that offset there. You can see that the existing structures are here, and then the new line of structures will be slightly shifted to the left when looking to the west. As you can see, the structures are slightly taller than the existing structures. The need for taller structures is partially due to the increased spacing between the wires associated with the 115 kV design, as well as increased clearance requirements due to changes over time and requirements from both the edge of right-of-way as well as the ground to meet those code requirements for clearances. Next slide, please. This is a high-level rundown of the schedule for the project. We've begun permitting efforts at the federal, state, and local level, expecting to complete that in 2027. In 2028, we'll begin work on access. The construction proper of the structures and foundation structure and wire will start in 2028 and extend through 2035. As we go along the line, as we set new structures, we'll be removing the existing line as we go. And then at the end of the project, as we complete through a section, we'll be restoring the right-of-way to undo any disturbance that's along the way. So we anticipate, at this time, we anticipate finishing up the project in 2035. So this is an extended time period to complete this project. Next slide, please. I'm not going to read through this whole slide, but here's just a summary of some of the permits that we anticipate for this project. At the top, this proceeding here before the siting board, as well as state, local, and federal permits of quite a number of different types there. Next slide, please. As far as how the project plans to communicate with the communities and our abutters and neighbors, we are committed to communicating with all stakeholders as much as we can transparently and addressing any questions you may have. We've continuing outreach to municipal officials in the towns that we pass through. We've had a couple of open houses. We are going door to door. We've left door knocker cards around. We have a website, CMA to WMAenergy.com, as well as a telephone and email address to contact for questions or to contact our stakeholder relations team. And during construction, we will also continue to communicate with our abutters and neighbors throughout the project about what we'll be doing, when we'll be doing it, as well as notifications to the towns in the area. Next slide, please. So broadly speaking, the way that the project sequence will happen during construction is our first step will be to build those access improvements, to go along the right of way, install our permanent and temporary access improvements, clear our way to access the structures, start setting foundations, and then remove the arms on one side of the structure, start setting poles, pull wire on that one side, remove the existing structure, and then add the arms on the second side of the structure and pull those wires in. And that will progress in segments down the length of the right of way. A number of types of construction equipment are part of that. We'll have excavators and drills to remove rock and install those foundations, cranes to pick up and set those structures, concrete trucks to pour foundations, and then bucket trucks for line workers to hang insulators, pull wire, and then those two machines you see down at the bottom are wire pulling machines to actually install the wire on those structures. Next slide. So if you do have any questions that come to your mind after this meeting, we have a phone number hotline to contact with questions, as well as the website I previously mentioned, and an email address for any questions that you may have or comments that you'd like to reach the project team with after tonight. I believe that's the last slide we have for our prepared presentation.
Thank you. Next, we will proceed with public comments regarding the project. We begin with federal, state, and local officials appointed, as well as elected officials who wish to be heard. Then we will proceed with members of the public who have signed up to speak in the order in which they signed up. And then finally, we will allow anyone else who wishes to speak. For all speakers, please give your name and address, spell your name, and speak slowly and clearly. A stenographer is transcribing all speakers tonight. To make his transcribing work easier, please speak deliberately and clearly. Please stop speaking if you see me raise my hand. If a company response to a comment or question is appropriate, I will ask the company to respond. Do we have any federal officials present or on Zoom that wish to comment? Okay. Do we have any state officials who would wish to comment? Just please raise your hand if you're among them. Do we have any local officials who would wish to comment? Okay. So Michael Garland, I imagine he's being admitted, is that right? Do we expect that we'll be able to hear him? He's a panelist now.
Yes, Michael, you should be able to unmute yourself and turn on your camera. Michael, we can't hear you. We can't. Could you try clicking on the audio button in your Zoom control panel and clicking on the little arrow, and you might have to switch your audio settings.
How's that?
There we go. I can hear you. Can folks in person hear?
Yes, we can.
All right. So good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to speak to you. So I serve as the chairman of the Auburn Conservation Commission. I saw that the applicant, I believe, intends to submit applications or at least project documents sometime in either the third quarter or the fourth quarter of this year. Is that correct?
So could we have a company representative come forward? And Mr. Garland, would you just state your name? We can see it, but,
My name is Michael Garland.
and your address, if you don't mind.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What was that?
Your address as well, if you don't mind.
13 Winter Street in Auburn, Massachusetts.
This is Mike Tyrell. I'm the environmental lead for National Grid for the project. To answer the question regarding filing with the Conservation Commission, we do intend to do that, and you are correct. Sometime later this year or early the following, we'll be filing a notice of intent with the commission across the project area.
Okay. So we'd have the opportunity to make a site visit.
Well, certainly, yes, we would encourage that.
Okay, that's really all I had at this time. I want to thank you for the opportunity to let me speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garland. Are there any other local officials? Is Nola here? If you can come and tell us what your name is. Are you okay coming up to the podium? Yeah, if you could please tell us your name, spell it, and tell us your address, please.
I'm so sorry. Before you start, the audio is a little choppy. Is there perhaps a setting you could fix? It's very like tinny, if that makes any sense.
Good to go, Kessel.
Okay, good. We actually can't hear. I'm so sorry. We can't hear you online. Still can't hear you.
My name is Leonora Gutierrez, Leonora Giudier, 342 my question is,
I'm so sorry. The mic is still cutting out.
here. Can we try the handheld? Now these, you gotta talk right into the top of them like you're a rock star. That's the only way these ones work. My question would be, I keep horses on my property, which is the easement for the power line, on and adjacent to, I'm sure other people do as well. This will be a massive impact on my animals in their life. They will not be able to stay there for the time that the construction is happening. How long are these stages dragged out for each tower? Is there any possibility of compensation for all the expense I'll have to board my horses elsewhere? Is my property gonna be put back the way I have it, which is the riding and pasture area? This is a real impact for me and people like me.
Could we have a representative please respond to that?
Hi, my name is Joe Carroll. I'm with the project engagement team. So for a question like that, I really appreciate it. I would encourage you to reach out to our project email or contact number so we can be in touch with you. We'll coordinate and we'll make sure that as we get closer to construction, we can give you a better time frame for when the work's going to take place and what the duration is. And in terms of any costs associated, we have a separate claims department, so I can get you in touch with them and we'll coordinate that and make sure we address any comments or concerns and work with you to make sure that you're up to date. And that goes for any abutter on the project. If you have individual questions about your property, you can reach us on the project hotline, project email, and we'll coordinate with you. We'll come out and meet with you and we'll work through individual needs as they come up.
Will that project email, does that coordinate with everyone? Because with all due respect, my history with National Grid keeping me notified of when people will be on their property and opening gates and bringing in equipment has been practically simple.
And I'm sorry to hear that. So the project email comes to our project engagement team for this specific project. It doesn't necessarily address other work that the company may be doing, but in terms of this particular project, anything that we receive, we will be communicating with you and we can take back to the project team as well.
Could somebody from the company just speak to the general question of how long like, a particular property would be impacted? You know, give us an idea about the timing, how big of a stretch you end up working on at a time, that type of thing.
Sure, I can speak to that. Can you hear me? The project at any given location will proceed in a couple of different phases. Coming through and trimming any vegetation might be a day or two at a time. Similarly, if we're talking in wet areas, setting swamp mats, again, a day or two. The road construction or access way construction might be a little more extensive, depending on soil conditions and the geology there. Drilling a foundation, setting the rebar and pouring the concrete, that could be a week, 2 weeks possibly. Setting structures, again, a day or two. Wire pulling usually takes about a week for any given mile long section that we're talking about. So depending on where the start and end sections are, that could affect how long that takes. But that's broad strokes. It'll vary from location to location depending on a lot of the different factors with terrain, geology, things of that nature. They would be broken.
So the question was, does that happen consecutively or would it be broken up?
Typically, those would be broken up. Not necessarily a year later, but somewhat separated. It wouldn't necessarily. Just as an illustration, pouring the concrete to the foundation, that concrete has to cure for 2 to 4 weeks before we can come back and put the structure up. All the structures in a section have to be replaced before we can pull the wire. So there would be discontinuities and breaks. It wouldn't be continuous the whole way through for all of those activities.
Excuse me, could you please hold the microphone closer to your mouth? Thank you, sorry.
Thank you very much. Are there other members of the public, either on Zoom or here present tonight, who would like to speak, comment, or ask questions? Ma'am, please come forward.
F-20. My name is Ellen here. I live at 404. Ellen Ethier, E-T-H-I-E-R. I live at 404 Lester Street in Auburn. My question to you all is, in that lovely handout we got mailed to us, it says the cost of this project is $896.9 million. How is that going to be paid for?
Company representative, would you have someone who would like to respond to that question?
No apologies needed. So the cost of the project will be included in the capital asset rate base of the company of New England Power, and would be recovered just like the cost of any other transmission asset that gets installed. The project is what's called a pool transmission facility, which means that it's after review by ISO New England is part of the regional transmission system that benefits all the utilities in the New England region. So the costs are spread out among the utility companies in the entire New England region.
So ultimately, we're paying more.
I don't know that I could say that this particular project would lead to a specific increase in your bill specifically, but as with all the money that the company spends to transmit and deliver electricity, yes, customers do pay for that.
Are there other members of the public who would like to speak? Sure, over here on the block.
Good evening. My name is, oh, how's that? All right. Good evening. My name is David Delollis, Delollis, and I live at 348 Leicester Street in Auburn. And I guess my one request is that I would appreciate you guys respecting my property. You guys have a way of going over around my property illegally. I have no doubt you guys have every right to go up and down the easements, but you, in the past, frequently go over my private property outside the easement, and I would really appreciate cooperation from you people with that matter. Thank you.
Thank you. If the gentleman in the red could come up, please.
O-L-A-E, Bradley, M-A-D-I-L-U, 447 Leicester Street, Massachusetts.
Excuse me, could you please hold the microphone closer to your mouth? Hopefully, yes.
So I got a couple of questions here. So when they put the new lines up, is it going to be loud?
So just to clarify, do you mean the construction activities or like when everything is done? No, it won't make it.
With these new lines going in, is it because of the surrounding solar panels that are being put around the neighborhood?
Not directly. This is the increased capacity. The ability of the lines to carry more power in the future. I think it's going to the lines. The lines will be able to carry more power in the future. New larger conductor we're putting up. That's not to serve any particular solar panel or any other customer or generator that we know of. That capacity will be for the general use of the transmission system. So after it's there, the capacity is there for load growth for customers or putting in heat pumps or potentially solar farms. If they do connect, if the capacity is available, they could potentially use it like any other user of the transmission system.
Working hours if this goes through.
With the project engagement team. So the working hours will be
will be determined as we get closer to construction. But that will all be communicated. So that will be communicated on the project website, and then any project mailers that go out will keep the towns and abutters informed so that everyone knows what the working hours will be when the time comes.
Last question. So I do have an easement on my property as well. The National Grid going to maintain to staying on the easement, or they're going to try to come on my property to do what they have to do?
Joe Carroll again. So that would be more of a question for a real estate member who unfortunately wasn't able to come tonight. But what I would like to do is connect with you after. We can take down your information and connect as we move forward. But the work will be primarily on easement.
Sir.
My name is Prescott Chipman, PRESCOTT CHIPMAN. And I have a question about the wetlands that's in the easement. What kind of control will it be over the streams and the water drainage?
Mike Tyrell, environmental lead for the project. So the way we manage our wetland crossings are through construction swamp mats, the timber mats you may have seen on various construction projects. They're 16 feet long, and they are used to span a wetland to gain access to a structural location or to provide general access down the right of way for equipment. That's designed to spread the weight of the construction equipment, and it's a temporary measure. As far as streams go, we span streams with a similar technique where we are able to build a bridge over the stream so we do not impact the bed or the bank or the substrate of the stream itself. It's frankly pretty amazing what the construction contractors can do with those timber mats. And that's our primary best management practice for wetlands and stream crossings. Once the work is done, those are removed. We have environmental monitors that verify that the stream, the wetland, the environmental feature that's there, even agricultural areas, are monitored for revegetation and stabilization post-construction. And we have most of our permits provide some kind of requirement to document that we've met that condition where we've restored the area appropriately. But construction mats are pretty amazing pieces of equipment that we use.
So the drainage will be reverted back to what it was.
Yes, without a doubt, we don't impact drainage at all.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Joe Ethier. It's Joeethier. I'm here to speak in regards to my family's property at 404 Leicester Street, Auburn. The concern that I have is just the access that they're going to use for the construction. Over the years, the access has changed a few times in how the power company is accessing the tower. And the latest configuration that they used, my late father kind of had a problem with because it went diagonally across about 2 acres of property that's not on the right of way. And I would like to see that when the construction starts, that we kind of have. I have already laid out an area which we would like to see them access the tower, which is on the right of way instead of the way they go diagonally across the property now. I just want to make sure that gets addressed when the construction starts. Thank you.
Does the company want to respond to that?
Joe Carroll again. Again, we don't have anyone from our real estate group here, but I'll definitely connect with you at the conclusion of this. Take down the property information. I can connect with them and we'll see what we can do moving forward
Yeah.
and communicate and coordinate as best as possible.
Sounds good.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? There is somebody on there. So we will end the hearing. Thank you to everyone for participating this evening. We welcome your additional comments and questions. Written comments are due and requests for participation are due Wednesday, January 28th, 2 weeks from tomorrow. If you have any questions related to tonight's hearing or anything else related to this proceeding, you may email me at daniel.w.kelleher@mass.gov. Kelleher is all E's, one L. Thank you very much. Good night. Off the record.